Hello and welcome to Mad About Sports. And today we are going to be talking about what exactly is bowling average and bowling strike rate. Now, a lot of you people might be wondering how it is calculated and how does it stand firm, especially to understand how a bowler's value is calculated in limited overs format and in test format. As you all know, the batting average and batting strike rate is a prominent factor, but it is as important to calculate a bowling average and also a bowling strike rate. Let's understand how it is calculated and how can it benefit a bowler in the limited overs format and even the test format. How do you really understand and undermine the value of the bowler by looking at the strike rate and average? But starting off which, I think we should start out by looking at the bowling average side of things. Now, what exactly is a bowling average? Now, it's often seen in the column of the bowler alongside economy strike rate, and next column is the bowling average. Now, when you understand a bowler, it's about the main factor is picking up wickets. Similarly, when you talk about a batter, it's about scoring runs. Now, a bowling average is the average which is taken and is calculated where the number of runs he is conceding divided by the number of wickets he's taking. So, now that's how you calculate a bowling average. For example, a bowler concedes 50 runs to pick up one wicket. Now that is how a bowler's one wicket will stand. That is average will stand as 50. Now let's pick up some of the interesting stats regarding bowling average, isn't it? Because there are some interesting players out there with some of the best bowling averages in the world, especially in one day format. Because let's start out by looking at the bowling average from the limited overs perspective, because that is where the runs conceded becomes even a prominent factor. If Sandeep Lamichhane, for the matter, in this particular figure, you can understand his bowling average is 17. Now, Sandeep Lamichhane concedes close to 17 runs before he picks up one wicket, and that is a phenomenal stat to have. Now, this is the number one stat in the country, in the world for that matter. Sandeep Lamichhane, the Nepalese leg spinner, has got that in him to pick up a wicket every 17 run he concedes. Now, if you look at the third number on the chart as well, it's Rashid Khan. Rashid Khan picks up a wicket with 18 runs he concedes. Now, that is how you actually calculate an average. Now, in limited overs format, why how important is bowling average, isn't it? Because when you look at the bowling average from a limited overs perspective, you need to understand that a lot of the teams look at a bowler from an economical standpoint and also from a wicket taking standpoint. If a bowler in a one day match is conceding close to 60 runs to pick up one wicket, his value definitely deteriorates by a larger margin. Or for the matter, anything in excess of 40 or 30 to pick up one wicket will mean he's going at a very high click, and his ratio of picking up wickets becomes certainly very low. And that is where the bowling average becomes even more prominent in a limited overs format, especially when it comes to the one day format and the T20 format. In the T20 format, you can say the chance of you going for a lot of runs are extremely high. That's where the one day format, the bowling average becomes prominent because you don't want to be considered. And even the test format for that matter, bowling average is a very important factor because you don't want your bowlers to be considering 60, 70 ones and bringing a one wicket. And that should not be the average of count there as well. Now, let's talk about another important factor over here, which is the bowling strike rate. Uh, let's understand how it is calculated by starting out with which. Now, bowling strike rate is calculated with the total number of balls bowled by the wickets taken. Now, in contrast to what we spoke about the runs conceded, the bowling average is the number of balls you bowl to pick up one wicket. Now, how many balls can you pick up a wicket in? Now, if you look, the best bowlers are the ones who's got the least strike rate. Now, when we look at the batting strike rate, the strike rate is always better when it's higher. But in bowling, it's just the difference. The difference in bowling is the lesser the average, lesser the strike rate, you are a better bowler. Now, when you look at the bowling strike rate as such, the number of balls bowled. For example, a bowler bowls 20 balls to pick up one wicket. That means his bowling strike rate is much, much better. Now, that's where we look at the number of strike rate, some of the best bowlers with the strike rate, right? Let's look at in the test matches for the matter. Now, if you look at Dwayne Olivia, when we look at someone like Lehman, their bowling strike rate is at a very, very good clip. Now, they bowled 34 balls to pick up one wicket. Dwayne Olivia from South Africa used to bowl 35 balls to pick up one wicket. That's every 6 overs he used to pick up a wicket in test format. And that's a very important and prominent stat for a bowler. And even for the matter, even the one day match, if you look at this particular column of Sandeep Lamichhane over here, his strike rate is pretty not bad at all. He picks up a wicket in every 24 balls. Rashid Khan picks up a wicket in a one day format with every 26 balls he bowls. That's 4.2 overs to 4 overs. That's where some of the best bowlers are in the world. Now, this is a striker of the best strike rates in the world in test format. And The best test bowlers out there with the best strike rate are these three, and they used to pick a wicket every 6 overs. So, and it's not easy to pick up a wicket every 6 overs. Now, if you look at some of the best bowlers, some of the strike rates go really high, up to 50, 60. That's primarily because they take 10 overs to pick up a wicket, and that's good enough if you're considering very low economy. Now, if you look at for that matter, Twain Olivia used to just go at 3.7, and he used to pick up a wicket every 6 overs. Now, which means he would be going at 18 runs. You would be considering 18 runs to pick up a wicket. And if you look at his bowling average as well, it is 21 runs considered to pick up a wicket. Now, that is a very good stat to have if you are a bowler. 21 runs considered to pick up a wicket in 6 overs. And that is a very decent stat. And you know that you are a bowler who have more chance of picking up wickets at a consecutive interval in comparison with any other bowler. And that is where you stand out as a bowler. And that is where bowling strike rate becomes even more prominent. Now, let's pick up a stat from the 2019 World Cup because why? Because these are some of the interesting stats of the 2019 World Cup. You can understand. Let's look at the bowling average over here. The best bowling all-rounders is the tag over here. Now, if you look at Dwayne Pretorius in this stat or Jimmy Neesham in this stat, their bowling average seems to be pretty impressive because number one, the prominent stat which we have to look is the number of runs they concede to pick up a wicket. Now, if you look at the one-day format of things particularly, you can understand that James Neesham, Pretorius, these people are not the best bowlers out there. They're bowling all-rounders as such. But if they can give you a wicket every 20 to 30 balls, being an all-rounder, now that is a very good bowling average to have. Now, how do you look a bowler is a good all-rounder or an all-rounder is a good bowler or he can even pick up good number of wickets is by looking at the strike rate and bowling average. Now, he might have good amount of wickets under his tally. Of course, wickets is a very good count to look at a bowler's strength and weaknesses, how good he is as a bowler. But average and strike rate is very important as well when you decide to pick up an all-rounder in your team. Now, with the limited overs formats demands being even more higher, you need all-rounders in your team. And that is where you need bowlers with a very good average and a strike rate. And then you can judge a bowler whether he's a good all-rounder or whether you can use him as just a wicket-taking or a partnership breakers role. Now, if you look at this list from the 2019 World Cup, once again, Dwayne Pretorius, Jimmy Neesham, Fekul Kwayo, Nuwan Pradeep, or Chris Brooks, these lads have been having a bowling average of they've conceded 30 runs or to 19 to 30 runs to pick up a wicket, and at the same time they pick up a wicket every 5 overs. Now, if you look at most of these bowlers, they bowl predominantly 7 to 8 overs. They can give you a wicket or two in their bowling quota, and which is good enough if you're an all-rounder as such. And that is where strike rate and bowling average becomes even more prominent. So, guys, especially when you're picking up a team, when you want to put up a team on the score sheet, if you want to build a team for the auction, the most important facets you need to have is the bowling strike rate and bowling average alongside the economy as well, because the cumulative figures will really show what kind of bowler you are, what are the chances and what are the best contribution you can make, how big an impact you can create. Because now you can look at the T20 format of things, you look at a batter from the strike rate and average perspective, especially calculating the word name BESRA, where batting average and strike rate is put together to calculate how a bowler goes about, how a batter goes about it. Now, when you look at a bowler, how you go about it is just in a different way. The average and the strike rate can be taken as a figurative stat, and alongside that, you can also bring in the economy and the wicket-taking ability of the bowler. Now, that's how you judge a bowler. For more informative stats like this, do not forget to subscribe to our channel and do give a follow on our Instagram page as well. And if you did like this video, do not forget to share and also come back to our channel more often than not. And if you're an aspiring analyst, you want to decode all these bowling averages, stats, and really want to get in depth of more knowledge of cricket, do check out our cricket analytics course with Mad About Sports. The link is there in the description. And if you're an aspiring football analyst as well, do check out the link in the description. Thank you, all of you, and have a good time. Bye-bye.